Good morning, everybody. I want to thank all of the candidates for being here. We really appreciate you taking the time so we can get to know you. My name is Cindy Brief. I'm the CEO of the Coral Springs Coconut Creek Regional Chamber of Commerce. And part of what we do in the chamber is advocacy. And although we don't pick candidates, we do advocate for business-friendly candidates. So we have a government and community relations committee, and Beverly up there is the vice chair of the committee, and she will be asking the questions today. I just wish you a lot of luck. We're recording this so that if anybody wants to send it afterwards to anyone, we can share that with you. And I want to thank you for your commitment to run for office for the city of Coconut Creek. I'm actually a Coconut Creek resident, and thank you for your commitment to service. And thank you so much for being here. Okay, Beverly, take it away.
All right, good morning. We're going to start with 2-minute introductions, and if the candidates can please monitor the chat for a yellow will show up when you have 1 minute left, and stop message when it's your 2 minutes are up. So we're going to start with District A this morning. Commissioner Tooley, please proceed with your 2-minute introduction.
Good morning. I'm Becky Tooley. I'm the sitting commissioner, and I've been a commissioner since 2001. And the reason I'm running is there's some things that I would like to finish up, such as the downtown area, get rid of Monarch Hill, make sure that that plastic underneath isn't leaking, and to make sure that we have smart growth for our downtown area and the turnpike. And I'd like to have a mental health program in Coconut Creek. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Wasserman, please proceed with your 2-minute introduction.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Jeffrey Wasserman, and I'm currently a high school assistant principal. I taught civics and U.S. history for 8 years. And one of the big things that I do as an assistant principal is I work with a group of people very similar to a commission. We are solving problems every day. We are working with budget. We are working with infrastructure. We are working with facilities. We are working with stakeholders. We are working with customer service to make our little city of a school a better place for all. When it comes to Monarch Hill, I'm very in tune with what's happening there. I've accepted 0 contributions ever in my life from Waste Management or any subsidiary or lobbyist associated with Waste Management, mainly because I'm a first-time candidate, so I've never run before. Another thing is with smart development, with our Main Street, it's very important that we are a business-friendly city. I want people to live in Coconut Creek. I want them to work in Coconut Creek, and I want them to play in Coconut Creek. And when you're building out this Main Street area, it's very important that we have smart development that leads us to encourage those 3 items for our citizens here in Coconut Creek. I'm very excited to be doing this. I look very forward to continuing to answer questions, and please reach out to me, because I just got a call 10 minutes ago from a voter. So let's keep it going. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to the candidates for Commission Seat District D for their 2-minute introduction, and we'll start with Commissioner Brody.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Commissioner John Brody. I am the current Commissioner of District D. I was appointed back.
You want this on, or?
I was appointed April 28th unanimously by the dais. And I made a promise that night that I would not waste a single minute, and I really haven't. It's important to me. I've been here for 20 years. I've already been doing the work, so it was important to me to get in here and continue the work with the city. I worked with various organizations, Tomorrow's Rainbow, Equine Therapy, John W. Brick Foundation for Mental Illness. I ran the 9/11 tributes for the last 5 years. I have blood, sweat, and tears in the city, and I'm going to continue to do that after this election. I feel a very strong connection here to Coconut Creek. My kids are raised here. I ran a business here where 80% of my employees came out of Coconut Creek. It's important to have homestand business here with employees from the Coconut Creek area. And so it's a great joy to be able to sit on the dais right now and make decisions at the top, because I've already worked in the trenches, so I know how to make those decisions that makes sense to the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Delgado, please proceed with your 2-minute introduction.
My name is Alfred Delgado, and I'm running for Coconut Creek City Commission, District D. I want to thank the Chamber for hosting this forum, first and foremost. And about me, I am a husband. I'm the father of 2 children. I'm also a small business owner, longtime resident, and a Chamber member. And the reason why I'm running is because I feel that our city is at a crossroads at this point. We have the dual threats of both Monarch Hill landfill, Mount Trashmore, as well as the turnpike with a proposed expansion there that would see it running up from 6 lanes, which it currently has, to 10 or more, with those lanes all on Coconut Creek side. They're talking about a flyover ramp also near one of our foster children villages here, SOS Village. And I think that ultimately those things threaten the quality of life of the city. And they ultimately also threaten our property values. And with property values being threatened, we also have the problem then of revenues that fund our schools. So I just want to maintain this city the way it is in terms of the quality of life that it offers, and ultimately ensure that we're acting with the necessary urgency to address these threats, which at this point I feel we're not doing. I think we need to work on that specifically, and I have the preparation, the focus to do so. I've served on the Citizens Academy as well as just about every board on the city. So I know the city's issues and how to deal with them based on my focus preparation and deal with them urgently. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Fry, please proceed with your 2-minute introduction.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the Chamber today for hosting this forum. My name is Nancy Fry, and I'm running for Coconut Creek City Commission, District D, because we're a progressive, innovative, and inclusive city. And as someone raising a family here, I'm deeply invested in Coconut Creek to make sure that we stay that way. I'm a mom of 2 young children. I'm a PTA mom. In fact, I'm one of the vice presidents and the fundraising chair of the Tradewinds Elementary PTA, and I was the one that advocated for us to join up as Chamber members. I also come from a municipal background. I was previously commission aide to Fort Lauderdale City Commissioner Steve Glassman, and I learned there firsthand how to work with constituents, businesses, and city staff to solve problems and get things done. During that time, I really developed, for lack of a better term, a nerdy love for municipal government, and I really want to bring that experience, knowledge, and dedication to my city. I'm proud to have been endorsed by the Sun Sentinel, as well as many fantastic organizations and elected officials at various levels of government, including Senator Tina Polsky, Senator Lauren Book, Senator Jason Pizzo, Property Appraiser Marty Kier, School Board members Nora Rupert, Sarah Leonardi, Alan Zeman, Vice Chair Debbie Hickson, and even some of our counterparts in the Chamber, like Vice Mayor Sean Sarah and Commissioners Nancy Mateo-Bowen and Joshua Simmons, amongst many others. We really have something special here in Coconut Creek, and I want to honor our history and all of the work that got us to where we are and ensure that we continue the forward progress that makes Coconut Creek so innovative and amazing. I want to make sure we stay accessible to young families and that local businesses can thrive, which includes having a close relationship with the Chamber. I've spent years as an activist advocating for my community and building networks, and I want to bring all that I've learned and accomplished to the Coconut Creek City Commission and proudly represent District D and the entirety of Coconut Creek. And thank you for this opportunity today.
Thank you. Thank you all for your introductions. Moving forward, for questions, we would like to ask you to limit your answers to 1 minute so that we can get through a few of them. And the first question will be for our District A candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Wasserman for this question. What are your thoughts about the election process in Coconut Creek with regards to having city elections in March versus combining it with general elections in November? Mr. Wasserman.
Thank you. First off, there's 2 Jeffrey Wassermans in the panelists. It's just a little weird. I don't know why there's 2 Jeffreys, but if you can remove the other one, the copycat, please. So one of the big things with this, thank you, with this election in March is people have election exhaustion from November. So we go around, we go door to door. People don't even realize there's an election in March. People always know second Tuesday, November, this is when there's an election. So it's really important that and with the city pays for it now. So why try? We want to encourage democracy. We want to encourage voter turnout. We want to encourage participation, because when people participate, they have more ownership and and feelings into the city. And it's so important. People are just, people aren't aware of it. There wasn't good advertising for this. I think all the advertising has come from us, the candidates who are going out, letting people know. And I just think if you move it into November, you're able to get higher participation, higher personability to the election process, and just a better buy-in from your citizens. It's important that we throw that in for a November election rather than March. Historically, it's been March. I'm stopping. I see the stop.
Okay, thank you. It's not that hard of a stop. You guys are allowed to finish your sentences there. All right, moving on, same question to Commissioner Tooley. What are your thoughts about the election process in Coconut Creek with regard to having the city elections in March versus combining them with the general elections in November?
Actually, a couple of us elected officials were talking the other day, and they also have elections in March. And we found out in March, the people look at their candidates more and know what's going on. If it's a general election, some people that live in this city don't even vote, don't vote for the elected officials, because by the time you have a 10, 12, 14-page ballot, they're tired and they just forget about the local elections, which I believe local elections and local government is more important than anything else. So it cost us. I understand that. I think that there's something that we need to do to work with Joe Scott to try to change some of these things. So it's always been that way ever since I've lived in this city. Does that mean it has to stay that way? No. Thank you.
Thank you for that answer. All right, now we're going to move on with a different question for the District D candidates. And we'll start with Mr. Delgado. Should the mayor be an elected position? You're muted, Mr. Delgado. That's okay.
Sorry about
your
that.
time, you still get your full minute, please.
Excellent.
Go ahead.
Excellent. So at this point, I don't believe that the mayor's position should be an elected one. Just in knocking on doors, me and my team, we've knocked on over 1,000 doors. It's not a major concern of the residents. What is a major concern of the residents, and what I mean by that is that they are happy with the way things are currently constituted in terms of the mayor being a position that is elected amongst the other commissioners, number one. Number two, what I do find that residents are very concerned about is in terms of the representation and transparency. And one of the initiatives that I've strongly advocated in going around neighborhoods and just within the city is to revamp the city's website. And I was glad to see that actually at a recent meeting of the commissioners where they were discussing ideas as to how the city could improve, that was one of the key ones that came up time and again in terms of revamping the website to make it more accessible for residents so that they can see how their money is being spent, a pie chart, dashboard, interactive, so that they can see what the city budget is, where their money is going, those kind of initiatives. That's really what they care about, and they care about seeing a more representative city commission dais. Those are the issues that I see. Those are the ones that have urgency for the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fry, should the mayor be an elected position?
I'm a firm believer that the voters should always have a say in who their elected officials are, because that's their voice. Anytime you can reasonably bring something to the voters, you should. Our current system of the rotating mayor is very confusing to the residents, and we don't have a consistent face for the city. The mayor is responsible for many duties outside of just serving as the chair for commission meetings, and voters should have a say in that. To clarify, we shouldn't abandon the city manager style of government, but we should have a mayor elected by the people, not elected by the commission. And to that end, going to the District A question, our voter input's already reduced with March elections, and I do believe we need November elections as well, both in terms of reaching voters as well as the cost burden to the city. Taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for the cost of an extra election when we could just have them on the November ballot. I've spent the bulk of my time campaigning, not discussing issues, but just educating voters on the fact that there even is an election, and on things like how to request their vote by mail ballot or where their precinct is. We need to do better by our voters and truly let them have a voice in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Brody, should the mayor be an elected position?
So my initial, excuse me, my initial is going to be no. And there's a lot of reasons that we have districts that vote more people than other districts. So there's a possibility that you'll continually get a mayor out of one area, which is not really representing the entire community. I think the rotation that we're doing does allow for a representation out of each district. So I think that's kind of a better route to go when we start talking about representation of the city. When we start getting to elections, when you're talking about people showing up and doing stuff, I'm all for the election part of this, but we have to watch how we vote, because it's if you got somebody that's always saying coming out of District 3 or District C, then you're always going to have that stamina that's going to come out of there because they vote more. It's going to be harder for the other districts to have good representation in that moment because all the voters are coming out of one district. So that's kind of my feeling. If there's a great argument for it being elected by independently, I would like to hear it. Certainly, we've all discussed this, with other cities. And so we know that what they've gone through. And I think it's just better if we keep it the way it is for now.
Thank you for that. All right, moving back to our District A candidates with a new question, and we'll start with Commissioner Tooley. Please address the recycling issue and Mount Trashmore. Please unmute, Commissioner.
Okay, that's better. When we stop recycling or collecting at the yards and stuff like that, we stopped because it cost us over $222,000, more closer to $250,000. And people were not putting recyclables in the recycle jars. There were high school kids that went through and told me that they peeked inside to see what people were recycling. There were dirty diapers. There was all kinds of things that aluminum foil, things that didn't belong in there. So that was a problem. We tried to educate, but it didn't work. So the solid waste group, which I'm part of, is trying to find a way so that we can recycle 75% of our thing. Mount Trashmore, they're trying to expand. We stopped them once. I want to stop them again. I don't want to see them go across the road. They had a waste to energy plant and it's torn down. So I think it's very important that we stop them with the planning council again.
Thank you for that. Mr. Wasserman, please address the recycling issue and Mount Trashmore.
We spoke about it the other day. We had another forum, and to limit when people recycle in our city to only the weekends is a problem to me. The recycling drop-off center should be open every single day. It should be accessible to our citizens to go to, and there maybe should be one or two other locations throughout our city also. In terms of Monarch Hill, I remember my mom used to bring me, 22, 23 years ago, my mom would bring me to the festival flea market. We would go to the festival and we would, I drive by, I go, Mom, there's not supposed to be a mountain in Florida. She goes, well, that's the dump. 23 years later, the dump, nothing's really changed with the dump. They said in 2015, they wanted to expand. They weren't going to expand again. Now here they are, 2023. I can tell you, recently, my opponent was at a conservative meeting saying that she has never accepted money from Waste Management in her career. In 2019, she accepted money from Waste Management. We have the financial reports. It's very important that we are transparent with our citizens at all times, because at the end of the day, if they don't trust us, what can they trust? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving back over to our District D candidates with a different question. Taxes, and we're going to start with Ms. Fry. Taxes have gone up due to the increase in property values. What are your thoughts about the increased burden on taxpayers versus the need to maintain and improve the city through additional expenditures? Ms. Fry.
This is a great question. Adding more of a financial burden to our taxpayers is not going to solve our issues. The median age of our city is 40, which means we have a lot of young professionals that are living paycheck to paycheck, and we have a lot of older residents living on a fixed income, and we can't bleed water from a rock. We are lucky that we have the phenomenal city staff that we do, and we have employees that are dedicated to ensuring that we can save money wherever possible to help us reach our budget goals without needing to raise taxes. For example, just last night, the commission was able to pass a resolution waiving the majority of the annual rate increase for water and wastewater charges for FY23 because the staff was able to reduce the revenue needs through operational efficiency and other cost-saving measures. And so we need to make sure we continue building quality staff in the city to keep that kind of progress going. And I believe we also need to work with the chamber to support our local businesses to diversify the tax base. We can't rely only on residential property taxes. We need to make sure that while we're developing sustainably, we are also making sure that Coconut Creek residents can and will spend their money in Coconut Creek and support those local businesses that will help our tax base. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Brody, what are your thoughts about the increased burden on taxes on property owners versus the need for higher expenditures for the city?
So, it's very good that Ms. Fry had mentioned last night's meeting. I think it was very frugal and very honest of the city to be able to say, we hate to do these great things to get us in this position, which I gave great praise to the staff. We also lowered the mill rate. We didn't raise it from last year, so it stayed the same. You should have to excuse me, my dog's a little bit of a barker. So we were able to keep the millage rate correct, keep it low. And then, sorry, I lost my track with the dogs. And then we also, when we did the budget approval last year, we only went up $600,000, which is part of what we call COLA for the employees. So we were able to maintain a budget year after year. We're able to keep the taxes and the burden down from the residents year after year. Some of that was dissolving some of the boards that were taking up a lot of the staff time. We were ready to reallocate those hours to other projects. So there's efficiency that the staff does, which is pretty amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Delgado, what are your thoughts about the increased burden on taxpayers due to higher property values versus the needs to maintain and improve the city?
So in talking to the residents here, as I've been going door to door, one of the things that they have focused on in conversations with me is basically the quality of life here and the services, the quality of services that the city maintains and offers. And they're quite happy with that. They actually want to maintain, we just stood up our own fire department. They like the quality of services that are provided by the fire department. They like the quality of service in terms of the police. So they want to maintain those. So that's the key issue there. I think at this point, we have a mill rate for fiscal year 2023, 6.4463. And at this point, the residents, from what I'm hearing from residents, and if this changes, absolutely, if it becomes too burdensome, overly burdensome, I'm willing to consider options to lower those rates. But at this point, people are happy with the quality of services that the city provides. I want to continue to maintain those. I want to support our fire and police department. And ultimately, what we really have to focus on is the cost of such as homeowners insurance, car insurance. That is far outpaced any kind of taxes that we've seen as residents. Myself personally, we've seen increases of up to 20% in our car insurance. So I want to make sure that the city is lobbying hard at the state level to bring down those insurance rates, because I think those are the real burdens that people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis that affects them. And last quick thing with regard to the cost of the elections, I think that moving them into November, I think would also help us, because at this point we were budgeted for over $100,000 that the city spends on elections because they're in March rather than November. So I think we should be moving in that direction, and that would provide added savings to residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your answers on that. All right, we're going to go back to our District A candidates. We're going to start with Mr. Wasserman. The governor has proposed additional funding in this year's budget to speed up the Southwest 10th Street corridor project connecting the Sawgrass Expressway to I-95. What are your thoughts about both the project and the timeline?
So
Mr. Wasserman.
Yes, thank you. We know that we are growing. What they say is that the more roads you build, the more people are going to drive them. So I want us to be thoughtful with this process. Century Village fought this a long time ago with their condo commissioner up there. But I want, we need to be thoughtful with how we're going to do that. It's very hard for a city to sometimes battle a state, but when you get everybody together and you're able to come together and get people to meetings and get people to different community organizational things, you're able to get the power of the people. And we need to be a part of that process. We need to be involved in that process, because it's us. I go on the Lions Road exit to the Sawgrass every day. We need to be active in that, because it's our citizens that are counting on us. And they want to make sure that if something's coming into our city, whether it's from the state or from federal, that we representing our citizens are a part of that. And I want to lead the people to be active in those meetings, because when you got everybody, you got a lot of power when everybody comes together as one.
Thank you. Commissioner Tooley, what are your thoughts about the corridor project connecting the Sawgrass to I-95 and the governor's proposal to increase the timeline by providing additional budget?
I think he can take the money away and not do it. But I was at a meeting about a month ago, and it was an open forum in Coral Springs. And there were very, very little people there. And that really kind of upset me, because if these people knew about it and it was advertised on the city's website, I think they would have been there, because where the Sawgrass is, there's a lot of kids that ride their bicycles or walk to Lions Creek Middle and when the other schools around there. And with this going on, they're not going to be safe walking. And that upsets me. And I brought that up to about 4 people there. I hope that we can stop it a little bit or change some of the design. Staff's been working on it hard, but I'm not really in favor of it.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move back to our District D candidates with a new question, and we'll start with Commissioner Brody with this question. Affordable housing is a critical issue for all of Broward County. Do you have any ideas about how the commission can address this issue in the city? Commissioner Brody.
Yeah, well, it's a complicated situation right now, because we had real estate companies come in during the pandemic and bought all these houses from the vulnerable people that couldn't stay in them, and they're sitting on them, choking out inventory. We have insurance prices that went up, and then we just saw last night that the Fed's talking about raising interest rates. So now the houses that could have been considered affordable are starting to be pushed out of that range. I think we need to come up with some grants to kind of help soften the burden. Maybe being able to control some of those things. I know the state's working on the insurance. I know the state's working on the real estate company to find out what they can do if they don't sit on the inventory. I think the Main Street being built is going to be tremendous help of off-burden inventory, because now we're going to have 2,300 units that are going to be putting in there to kind of offset that burden. And I think all those things combined can kind of make a difference if we get control of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Delgado, do you have any ideas about how the commission could address affordable housing within the city?
Well, one of the things is that we can look into how to get vacant housing back into the market. One of the things, and I can actually see it right out my window over here. We have a house right in front of our house that was actually bought by Zillow, and it's sat vacant there for several years now. Weeds 2 feet tall. And I think that's just unfortunate, because people want to move into this neighborhood where I live, and it is a nice neighborhood. So we need to look at that. We need to look at the vacant housing and how we can bring those back into the market. The other thing is that we can actually, we need to increase the awareness that potential residents have of the programs that are available. I actually went on the city website and saw that we do have on the website affordable housing initiatives that we work with the county, but we need to make that much more robust, because moving into the city, before I moved in here, I didn't know those programs were available. So that's another thing that we could do. And then also work more closely with the county to promote those along those lines to potential residents, get that out there. They have certification programs that help defray the cost for first-time buyers. I think those are positive steps. And then lastly, we need to incorporate with all the stakeholders, work with city staff, with the residents, with developers on Main Street to incorporate affordable housing there for our first responders, teachers, nurses, police officers, firefighters, so those that serve the city can actually live in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fry, do you have any thoughts about how we could address affordable housing within the city?
Yeah, yes, I do. Currently, Coconut Creek does have agreements with Broward County to work as partners on some housing programs and rental assistance. However, that does put us at the mercy of the county if they decide to suspend or end those programs. We need to look into any potential state or federal grant money to fund our own programs as a city so that we can have more control over what assistance we're giving out and not be at the mercy of the county. Additionally, I think we should look to our neighbors to the west, Coral Springs, as an example of prioritizing affordable housing. You can look at the partnership that they formed with Habitat for Humanity to build affordable properties on city-owned land. I think we have a great opportunity coming up with the Main Street project to potentially put aside some units for affordable or workforce housing so that we can make sure that the people who work in Coconut Creek can afford to live in Coconut Creek. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go back over to our District A candidates with a new question. We'll start with Commissioner Tooley. You're a current commissioner, so if you could please share with us how you engage with residents and how you plan to stay engaged with residents if reelected.
I actually try to show up at everything, from kids' games to the senior center, to every event that we have, the concerts, everything. And I'll walk around and ask them, are they happy with the city? What would they like to change? And I've been doing this for years. I get people knocking on my door. So I plan on continuing that because I like to hear from the residents. I like to hear from the young kids. They have some great ideas and maybe we can use some of those ideas. So that's how I plan to stay engaged. And I think it's very important. It's the resident city. And I think that they should have a say, especially like in the Main Street area and others. And they probably need to show up at commission meetings. We get 1 or 2 people, that's it. I said a long time ago to some of the condo commanders, you should appoint somebody to show up at the commission meetings and see what's going on. So now we started the ambassador program. I hope that it continues. It's proven to be very good. It's much better than some of the boards. And that's what I want to continue to do.
Thank you. Mr. Wasserman, if elected, how would you plan to be engaged and stay engaged with the residents?
Well, I think the biggest thing in staying engaged with our residents is pushing out information to them. To say to go to the website is not fair to a citizen. We as a city need to be pushing out the information. There's a thing called the Cocogram, but in order to sign up for it, you have to navigate this website to go here, then here, just to sign up. And there's a long list of things to sign up for. I've heard the Cocogram a lot. We need something a little more effective for our citizens. One thing that our campaign's been doing is we send emails all the time. We have 1,300 people opening our emails, and because people are on their phones. People need to be sent the information, and that's how you engage with them. I also think when you engage with residents, it's important that you're open and you're an active listener. People are so grateful when we come by because they're being heard, they're being visited, they're being valued. And that's how you stay engaged, is you show value to a citizen, you listen to a citizen, but you also make sure they're getting the information. You talk about going to commission meetings. We talk about going to commission meetings, but you have to go on the Coconut Creek website to go to the agendas, to go to here, to get all the list of the meetings. People need to be pushed this information out. I think we should have a commissioner gazette or a newsletter sent out once a month with some highlights of things going on. I saw the stop, but now I'll stop my sentence. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move back to our District D candidates with a new question. And we're going to start with Mr. Delgado. Do you have any initiatives that you would like to spearhead that would help our business community?
Sure. So one of the key things and just coming here, my wife and I and the kids, we like to go to the promenade here. And one of the things that I think could definitely help with regard to business and attracting business, fostering business, bringing residents to businesses is just mobility, increased mobility options for residents, because a lot of times people will go here to the promenade, and one of the biggest complaints that I hear time and again is lack of parking. So if we had micro transit options to supplement those that the fixed route options that the city already provides, I think that would make people much more amenable to frequenting local businesses, local residents frequenting local businesses. And so with microtransit, what that offers is the option that individuals could be taken, perhaps even from their own home, straight to those businesses, or from a locality near their home, straight to the businesses. Therefore, they can put aside having to drive over there in their vehicle, thereby freeing up greater amounts of parking. The other thing that we could do is we could have a dedicated specialist for economic development. And then lastly, widen the sidewalks. My family and I, my 7-year-old David, 5-year-old Rosie, we walked to the Christmas lighting last year, and we were walking down Lyons towards the promenade from Winston Park Boulevard, And the sidewalks are so narrow, so dangerous. The traffic is flying through there, and it's so dark. It's not inclusive. You don't feel that you're being invited to walk those sidewalks. So we should see about illuminating those sidewalks better, widening them so people feel safer in going to the promenade, because maybe I don't want to drive there. Maybe I don't want to catch microtransit. Maybe I want to walk there. Let's give people incentives to do so. And then have a specialist on economic development that talks to businesses as to why they came here, why they stayed here, and then also talk to the businesses that didn't stay here, that perhaps didn't come here, and why that was the case. We need to have that data so we can act more effectively in fostering business growth here in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fry, do you have any initiatives that you would like to spearhead to help our business community?
Yes, so this was an idea actually previously brought up at a commission meeting during public comment. As an environmentally conscious city, I would love to encourage our local businesses to sign a pledge committing to being more green or sustainable in some way, like pledging to not use styrofoam or only using paper bags. And then we can feature those businesses on the city's or the chamber's social media and really get them that big social media boost, or maybe even have a searchable database online for folks that want to patronize those businesses because they're being environmentally conscious. Additionally, this month is Black History Month. Next month is Women's History Month. Why not highlight Black-owned businesses or women-owned businesses with the chamber and that are in Coconut Creek that do great work during those months? We could highlight veteran-owned businesses on Veterans Day. I think we should always make a point to recognize those local businesses that are supporting the community, because we're partners, and when they succeed, we all succeed. And we need to make sure that we're really harnessing those partnerships and advocating for our local businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Brody, do you have any business initiatives that you would like to spearhead to help our business community?
Yeah, there's a couple. On the 15th, we talked about revamping, going back to the budget and saying we need to revamp our website. And I think part of that revamping needs to be that we have a landing page for small businesses in Creek. You know, how many times we get on Facebook and all these other social medias and people are asking, hey, where's a good tailor? Or where's there a good place to eat? Being able to have that landing place for those businesses that are inside Coconut Creek would be a great advantage for everybody, because then the local business can grow. I think what the chamber does is an amazing thing by the networking parties that you guys have, or the network engagements. By us being there, it shows that we're engaged with the small businesses, everybody that's coming in. I think the third thing that we kind of look at here is doing a special needs program where they can hire special needs people to do offset some of the work. And then they can highlight that as a part of community involvement with our special needs people here in Coconut Creek. And so those three things, I think, hand in hand, will go to kind of increase small business and expose them to the community of where they're at and what they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to thank all candidates for participating in this. And now we will allow you each to give a summary of your community involvement, explain why you are the best qualified candidate for your seat. And we'll start with Commissioner Tooley.
When I came to Coconut Creek from Ohio, I wanted to meet people. So my husband suggested that I join the Women's Club of Coconut Creek. And it was one of the best things that I ever did. I got to meet people. People led me to other people. I started going to commission meetings because I was interested in what the city did. I was on planning and zoning and environmental board. I went to other different organizations. I spend a lot of time at the fields watching the kids play. And I think that that's very important.
Thank you. Mr. Wasserman, would you please summarize your community involvement, explain why you are the best qualified candidate for this seat?
For the past 12 years, I've been an educator. And I think being an educator, you're contributing to the future of our city, our county, our state, and our country. And that is something that I have been doing, whether, teachers get underpaid, and after school, we do so many things to contribute to our students' growth in mental health and social and emotional learning as well. Citizens want to be related to. The city's demographics have shifted greatly over the past 23 years. And I'm a history and civics guy. I love history and I honor history, and I always will. But now is the time that we start focusing and taking all the things we've learned and now giving the younger generations the attempt to apply those things that we've been taught to now become a part of the process, become a part of our city's government. That is what's so important. All of my endorsements have officially endorsed me with an official letter. Okay. These people have gone above and beyond to give me an official letter endorsing me, which means the world to me. I am working really hard. I am running to breathe a breath of fresh air into District A, and I will continue to run. I will continue to try to earn people's votes, because the most important thing in this election is the people. And if you can get the people to feel good, then they're going to do good. And that's one of the things we've been so proud of doing. Somebody messaged me, and I got the breath of fresh air from a citizen. He says, "You are a breath of fresh air. Thank you for doing what you're doing." It takes a lot of courage and a lot of gusto to go from private life to public life. And I think the rest of the candidates here who are running for the first time know that also. But I'm working hard, and I won't let you down. And if you ever need me, please reach out to me, because I'm here for you. I've been a public servant my whole career, and I did it in schools, and I'll do it in this city, and I'll make you proud. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Brody, please summarize your community involvement and tell us why you're the best candidate for your seat.
Sure. I am the commissioner now, so I have been doing the job for the last 10 months, and I didn't waste a single minute of that. I go to every single event that we could possibly put on the docket. There's a little bit of a disconnect when we start talking what a commissioner does. 10 years ago, when I thought about this, I said, there's no way I'm going to do this, because I don't want to steal time away from my kids, because when that time's gone, it's gone. And anybody that tells you this is a part-time job, it's not a part-time job. I am probably running about 30, 35 hours a week doing the city work. And that's not, it's not conductive, if you can't get the time. I think our residents demand more from us than it used to be. They demand that we go to these events because they want to see us. They want to see us engaging. Man, I'm agreeing with them. You really need to spend that time. There's many nights I don't get home before 10 o'clock, and I start my day usually at 7:30. So the long days are part of what we do here. And I think being involved, running the softball program, starting those softball programs, running the 9/11 events that are beyond what the city is doing, it means a lot. People see that and they engage. I've walked probably about 8,500 houses since January 4th. And they really enjoy seeing the commissioner come knocking on their door to give them information. And after this election, I'm going to continue to do that on special projects. Well, anything that's coming up, I'd love to go knock. I love the engagement and the one-on-one intimacy that I can have with a resident in conversation. I think a lot of times the conversation piece of our society has gone away. Everybody's on their phones. So the engagement one-on-one is so much more satisfying, both with the resident and for myself, because I get the real feedback from them, isolated from influences. So that is a huge part, I think, what we need to do as a commissioner, and you have to have the time for that. By the way, I'm also endorsed by the police union and the fire union. So those guys, I built this relationship with them over time to engage. Like I said, I ran businesses here. So a lot of times I depended on the EMS guys to show up, or first responders. And so those relationships that are built that are not just starting since an election, these are that I fostered over 20 years. And I want everybody to have a great day, and see you on March 14th.
Thank you. Mr. Delgado, please summarize your community involvement and tell us why you are the best qualified candidate for this seat.
So in terms of community involvement, I mean, it ranges from just helping out here in the neighborhood to service on the boards. When I had a neighbor here, a bad back, he had surgery mowing his lawn. I mowed his lawn. Whatever it takes to make sure that we have a beautiful neighborhood and a beautiful city, I'm in. That sense of service extended to wanting to find out how our city, as Ms. Tooley pointed out, how our city is run, the way it works. So I've served on just about every board that one can serve on as a resident. I'm a longtime resident of the city, and served on the Environmental Advisory Board, served on the Affordable Housing Committee, served on Planning and Zoning, all because I cared and wanted to learn more about it. I also completed the Citizens Academy, which teaches you about the various departments that help run our beautiful city and how they do it, basically. And beautiful, wonderful staff, effective staff, has been pointed out throughout this forum here. And ultimately, what motivated me to run was finding out that the commissioner that represented my district allegedly didn't even live in the city. And when you find out that the people that are supposed to be representing you aren't even doing that, they're not even bothering to be in the community with you, sharing the experiences with you, then how can they have a sense of urgency? And so that's the reason why I'm running. I feel that the city, as I said at the beginning, is at a crossroads, and that my focused preparation will, and the urgency that I bring to my candidacy and to being a commissioner, will match the moment. Because ultimately what I want to make sure is that the expansion of the landfill does not go forward, that the expansion of the turnpike does not go forward, because those things are ultimately going to damage our quality of life, our property values, and our schools. And I want people to have a baseline of opportunity without a limit to success in the city. And I want ultimately my kids to be able to move ahead and our residents to move ahead without moving away. So that's why I'm doing it. Sense of urgency to preserve what we have here. I love this community. I want to see it move forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Fry, would you please summarize your community involvement and tell us why you are the best qualified candidate for this seat?
Absolutely. So I won't repeat my whole opening because you don't want to hear all that again. But as I stated before, I have municipal experience. I've done the work. I'm a PTA mom. I'm involved in our schools and out in the community. I also represent our commission district on the Broward County Commission on the Status of Women. I serve as the vice chair of the Human Relations Committee for the school board, and I'm an active member on the Coconut Creek Ambassador Program. I've worked in the community for years through many different organizations, and I'm especially proud of my activism with gun violence prevention through Moms Demand Action. And I'm also an alumna of the New Leaders Council from the 2020 cohort. Not only do I have the community experience, but I also have the experience of being in a young family just trying to get by. I understand what those around us struggling financially are going through. And I want to be their voice and make sure that they can have the tools and the resources to be successful, whether they're an individual, a family, or a business, that they have a government that is behind them and supporting them, and that their voice can be heard. My mission is always to bring people along with me and uplift them wherever I go. And if I am so fortunate as to be elected, civic engagement will continue to be my top priority. I want to make sure that the people in the community have a voice, that they have access to their commission and to their city government. I want to hold office hours before every commission meeting where I can go over the agenda with anyone that wants to show up and explain to them and get their feedback to bring to every commission meeting. I want to start an high school internship program because I don't believe we should wait for someone to be 18 years old before we care about what they have to say and what they have to contribute to their city government. And I hope that I can earn your support for Coconut Creek City Commission District D. Again, Nancy Fry, Coconut Creek City Commission District D. Thank you.
Thank you. And on behalf of the Chamber and the Government Relations Committee, I would like to thank all of the candidates for your time and for your answers. And this was recorded and will be available for replay and for you to share with people. And we hope that this will assist the residents of Coconut Creek with making an informed decision in the upcoming election. And we wish you all good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.